If you're listening on podcast, be sure to tune in to our YouTube channel on YouTube at Wild and Weird WV.
Welcome to Wild and Weird Radio, a Wild and Weird West Virginia podcast.
Actually, I'm live right now because this is a special edition.
That's right. Welcome to a special edition of Wild and Weird Radio.
Look at that. And Brandon showed up like it was right on cue. That's just crazy. It was all supposed to be that way. Yeah, this is a special taped edition. So that's going to be really cool.
It's going to be this week's episode. So we've got... it's West Virginia Day, so that's why we're doing a special live, right?
Oh, no. It's Wild and Weird West Virginia Day. Why don't you say it right?
Valid point. It is Wild and Weird West Virginia Day. So we're doing a Weird West Virginia history episode for you guys.
Yeah, we're just going to be talking about the state and some of the crazy things that happened here, and we're going to be listening to some of your stories out there. Some of your favorite Wild and Weird West Virginia type stories would be great to hear.
James Boggs hanging out there.
Howdy.
We got Bigfoot,
Littlefoot.
Of course, we got the Deuster.
The Deuster.
How's everybody doing out there?
I'm honestly surprised we have this many people who came last minute.
We've got Fish Belly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, guys, get it shared out.
Fish Belly, what's up? Yeah, this is a spur of the moment special edition.
Yeah, get it to share it out, especially to any of your friends who are, into Mothman and all that fun stuff. So yeah, let's get it all shared out there, guys. Let's turn on some spooky music. There we go. Now it feels like home.
There we go.
Yeah, setting the mood there. That's good.
So yeah, how's everybody been?
Good. Been good here. It's great to actually be able to relax a little bit between shows. Not very long, but still, I'll take it. It's good.
It is nice. We've got a little bit of a break to get some stuff done. Getting some new merchandise actually created.
Some new merchandise created. Yes.
That's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
It'll be making its first appearance at Kecksburg, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Oh, and what other good news on West Virginia Day could we have other than the fact that the good old boys from West Virginia, as they like, many of them like to refer to us, we are going to be making an appearance at CryptidCon officially. Not just vending the way we normally do. We're actually speaking at CryptidCon this year.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking.
Right?
Yeah, I have no idea what they were thinking. But yeah, we will.
It's gonna be a good time.
We'll be there
for
those who don't know. Yeah. So, you guys have any favorite stories of West Virginia? Like any of your favorite stories of the actual cryptids or legends from this state?
Man, there's a lot to choose from.
What's your favorite one? What's your favorite? I just want to know what your favorite is.
Man, my favorite is one of our passion projects, is the mounds.
Yeah. We are unique in that respect. There's Ike.
Hey, we got Ike over here with us. What's going on, brother?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, they don't realize that this state has so much in the way of it's paranormal, weird, downright weird. It's just it's a magical place. It's just, there's so many things.
Deuster said John Denver. And
Denver.
It's one of those things that
John Denver.
Country roads or cryptid roads.
Cryptid roads.
As it was redone.
Cryptid roads is what it is now.
It's one of those songs that's always it's West Virginia's anthem at this point.
I mean, yeah, it's basically it's the unofficial state anthem. So
Adam Good said that trying to choose which one of his West Virginia things is like trying to determine which child will live at the hands of a terrorist.
Well, I guess. I mean, there's so many, right? That's the point. That's
There
our
are.
problem. There
Like,
really are
and
that
we're
many.
the epicenter
Hey,
of the
fish.
weird.
Yes, we're the epicenter of weird. I mean, that's a fact. I think that people just don't. They just sell West Virginia short, because look what we've got. We've got, yeah, because it's old. Exactly.
We're the only state that's fully. All of our borders are fully immersed in the Appalachian Mountain Range. Everybody else either trickles off to the outskirts of the mountain range, but we're the only state fully enveloped.
Yeah. I
And
mean, it's
this
crazy.
state is weird because it's old. That's the area is old. The mountain range. I've said it before on Dark Skies. We live in the oldest mountain range on the planet.
We do. We absolutely do. And it's ancient, as a matter of fact, because it predates everything. I mean, pretty much, as far as we know. I mean, there could have been other civilizations here, couldn't there?
Yeah.
On the top of those mountains before they started getting eroded down. It's very possible. I mean, there's
the natives
legends.
said.
Yeah, exactly. There's legends of that. So,
So, what's your
Come on.
favorite, Brandon?
My favorite is probably Injured Cold. Like that story just interests me so much.
yes, yes, I can't say no to that.
Yeah.
Just because it's such a great story. It's just an incredible story.
It still goes
And
on to this day.
It needs to be
it's still happening.
told,
Oh,
it just needs to be told. It's such a wonderful story.
Anya said recently that she was still in contact with Injured's family up until she passed away.
Yeah, that's right. That was in her book, Beyond Lanulos, and that was by her, and she has a continuing story in here, 50, or 50 plus years with Indrid Cold. So that was a great one. And then of course you had Woody's original, which really just set it all out. The Visitors from Lanulos. This, in my opinion, is West Virginia's George Adamski, except for he didn't fake it. I'm sorry, he didn't fake it. In my opinion, he didn't. Now, did everything 100% happen the way he said it did? Maybe to his mind it did. We've proven at this point that we are dealing with a phenomena. Yes, an intelligent phenomena, right? That has a ability to kind of make us see what we wanted them to see, or want us to see. So maybe he did take those trips. I mean, maybe they weren't physical, is what I'm saying. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not
I
gonna.
mean, Enoch did.
There you go. Good
He's a
point.
modern day Enoch.
There you go. I mean, I don't want to start, a cult around Woody, but I will say that, he's just as relevant as any of the early contactees, and probably more so, in my opinion.
So Ron, what's your favorite?
Man, next to, Indrid, I'm gonna have to go with the old favorite. It's Mothman. It's Mothman, dude, because Mothman's part of the family. It's just I gotta represent. But Mothman to me is one of the greatest legends, just because of, man, it's fire. It's fire. It's everywhere. It's in so many different countries. It's pretty much spread across the globe at this point, the legend of the Mothman. And I don't think that anyone could have ever imagined that. I know those kids never had a clue that little story, when they ran to that, that pizza, that pizza shop that night, and they sit down there and they called the cops. I just don't think that they had a clue that this was going to catch fire the way it did.
And not even just that, but the way that they were going to be quintessential in the survival of this small town because of that story.
Yeah. If it wasn't for that sighting, there would be no,
Would not be what you
it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be. It'd just be a little tiny river town barely making it. I mean, that's a fact.
Yeah.
That sighting, that put that town on the map. And it's still, I mean, there's people who come from all around the world now to see that museum.
Not just for the festival, but year
round. year round. Exactly. They're out in front of the, the statue on the Mothman cam, and
Hey, speaking of the Mothman cam,
yeah.
it's somebody, one of our buddies. He's not in the chat because he probably has no idea that we're doing this. But if you are watching this, if you are seeing this live, go look up Spooky Appalachia's YouTube channel.
Subscribe.
Type it into the search bar and go subscribe to Spooky Appalachia. It's his birthday today. It's also Wild and Weird West Virginia Day. And
works out great.
Go show him some love. He's a tremendous supporter of everything that we do. And
oh gosh,
we
hey,
help
look! I just walked in.
Hey, look at that! we're sitting here talking about you.
We summoned him. We summoned him. See how that works?
Yeah.
That, my friend, is how it works. That's how you got to be very careful, or you will manifest things. I'm telling you, got to be careful what you manifest. This time it was just Spooky Appalachia.
Everybody wish Spooky Appalachia happy birthday. And go over to the YouTube channel, go give him a subscribe and smack that notification bell. And just got the last kid to bed and saw the notification. Hey,
there you go.
Perfect time, man.
There you go.
Stingray's here with us. Hey,
Stingray, welcome. Hey, Spooky, we're asking people their favorite Wild and Weird West Virginia story. Not us, but
Weird West Virginia history
stuff. Yeah, from the history, the legend. What's your favorite legend?
I'll tell you my favorite Dawn cryptid story.
Yeah, okay.
And,
okay, yeah, sure, that counts.
The story of the ghost of Mamie Thurman.
Oh yeah, that's a cool one.
Yeah.
That's a cool one.
There is so much more to just her murder. There's a whole conspiracy in the town of Logan from back then about who might have done it.
Oh, hey, crazy. Adam Good, up for $4.99.
Pabs on Spooky's birthday.
Bless you. Let's get Pabs up here. Where is he at? Let me get a message
he probably
out.
Has no idea because it's not Thursday, so he's not used to this.
I sent a message out to everybody, so But here's the thing: I don't think that everybody is getting the message because I've been told that we may be getting because we may be giving out conspiratorial information, because we're anti-conspiracy, but apparently that doesn't matter. So
Spooky. Yes, that does 100% count because it's part of the history. That was actually one of the ones that I mentioned, and not just the giants in Moundsville, but the giants that have been found all over the state, the relics and remains of these large humans.
Where is this
at? That were documented. If you go back and you look in the anthropology notes, what was it called? It was the old logs, the old anthropology logs for the state of West Virginia. You can go to you can go out to the public libraries and look those up, and you can see the records of where these things were categorized and documented. Yeah, some of them probably were ground sloth bones and things like that, but when you start finding fully intact remains that are from head to toe over 7.5 feet, we're kind of getting into a ballpark where that's not a ground sloth. We're finding the skull, the whole body. And for example, the ones that were exhumed out of the Shawnee Mound in Dunbar,
Dunbar,
South Charleston Mound. The Shawnee Mound, there was a sarcophagus in the middle, and it had ash remains, which were cremated remains, and on either side, facing east and west, perfectly east and west, were these two large 7.5 foot tall people that were on their knees facing outward from the chamber. They were buried with the chamber. Whether they were sacrificed as well, we don't know. There was nothing to tell about that, but they found these one way that we know that it wasn't just stretching of bone over time or that the bones fell apart and spread out, was the jewelry that they were adorned with was huge. They had large hammered copper sheet jewelry that was big bangles and bracelets that were made to fit the arms, and they were of a large circumference around. Like if you measure your arm, my wrist measures roughly, I think it's like 8. When I was writing for the book we were doing, my wrist measures at like 8.5, 9 inches around. The bangles that were found there were measuring in at around 16 to 18 inches.
Wow, that's
Around.
huge. Grief.
So that's double the width of my arm. And then the same thing was found over in South Charleston at the Krill Mound, where in this case,
Now, the Krill
large
Mound is
one
a
was in
whole
the-
different animal, isn't it?
It was.
The 10 skeletons that actually were arranged in a spoke-like pattern around that. That's
Yep.
the crazy part. And their feet were all pointing toward the center of that skeleton. That's weird,
Yep.
dude.
They were
Kind
observed.
of
They
like
were
a
walking
multi-pointed
out.
star.
Well, the
You
thing
know?
to remember, with
It's
energy,
symbolic there.
well, the thing to remember, with that, yeah, I mean, I think it was probably ceremonial. It was an energy thing. They were guarding it, you know. I think that had a lot to do with it. But your individual was almost 7 feet. It was 6 feet, 8 3/4 inches. So that's pretty big for a guy back then, man. Because what was the average height of,
Average height was around 5'5"
Yeah.
for the Adena and Hopewell culture people.
Yeah, yeah.
They were around 5'5". So this was somebody that would have been 3 to 4 feet taller than them.
Yeah.
But Spooky was saying he heard about armor. Most of it was really jewelry. It was mostly like adornments. It could have been armor, but it's hammered copper. Not going to do a whole lot. Even against a arrowhead, it's going to pierce it pretty easily. Copper is a really soft metal.
Well, you have to remember, like, what they constitute as armor.
Yeah.
There were breastplates that were made of, bone. Also, that was a common thing. The chieftain. You've seen them. I mean, that's what those are. Those aren't for just decoration. That's armor.
Yeah.
Because it worked back
They
then.
wouldn't use the copper for that because
No, they did not use copper for that.
bone. The
That was
closely,
horrible for armor.
closely stacked bones.
No, yes,
femur
it was
bones and
light.
stuff, that would have stopped a
Yes.
One thing a
Pabst
lot of people
made
don't
it.
realize
Good job, man. You made it.
about the Adena people was that they were so old that the people who settled here, the natives who settled here, didn't even know anything about them.
Well, yeah, the
That's how
fascinating
far back
part
it
to
was.
me, though, is that we just, archaeologists, they don't like to deal with the possibility that these things are much, much older, right? So it's just easier for them to say, these were just,
I'm curious though now, with everything we're finding in modern science, with all of these new relic hominins that are being discovered, and we're finding the possibility of actual living human species.
will they change the timeline?
If they're going to go out and they're going to start changing the timeline, and if that change in the timeline is going to cause a review of the information that they had gathered.
Well, I mean, I would hope it would, because we all know, I think we all know that, those they're ancient. They weren't just built 250 to 150 BC. Some of these things were ancient. We had, we had the First Nations who were here, and the tribes that the Europeans met with, and they said, "Oh yeah, those have been here. Those were here when we got here." I mean, I don't buy it, but one of the more disturbing things about it to me is that
One of the largest groups of mounds in the United States once existed in Dunbar Institute in South Charleston in 1883 to 1884. The Smithsonian workers recorded 50 mounds, at least 10 earthworks, low earth embankments in geometric forms. So circles, squares, things of that matter.
Yep.
The Great Smith Mound, 35 feet high and 175 feet in diameter, stood in Dunbar. The mounds in Shawnee Reservation and downtown South Charleston are
all that remains
today of this prehistoric works.
That's all that remains.
Yep.
Yeah, what's
And now if
interesting,
you extend those earthworks into the Charleston metro area where it currently exists today, that number goes from 50 to 90.
Which is, there was a massive, mound city here.
Yeah.
And it was, it's been proven pretty much that there was archaeoastronomy taking place there. There was something here. There was something very old here. There was a culture that was very smart here. It kind of tries to go and help prove the South American migration. Yes. So, yeah. So, who's going to tell the story? Ghost story.
Brandon was going to tell a ghost story, so let's go ahead and get to that one.
Ghost story. I want to hear a
Oh.
ghost story.
So it was in the early 1920s. Mamie Thurman, who was basically the town floozy in Logan, it was well known, and her husband also knew about it. They found her dead one morning. I think it was a Sunday morning. She was found beaten, and her throat was slashed, and her body was basically dumped over a hillside. And there were a lot of finger pointing going on. They even accused her family's male black servant of doing it, and he even served jail time for it, but they never actually proved it was him. Some people even said it went all the way up to the mayor of Logan at the time, which Logan at the time was a very industrious city.
Yeah.
They had streetcars and everything back then, like those monorail streetcars,
Mm-hmm.
the ones with the zip line thing. I
Yeah.
can't remember what they're called.
Trolleys.
Trolleys.
Yeah, there we go. They even had those, and it was actually one of the first cities in West Virginia to get electricity too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it was a booming city back then, so that was a big deal. And there were actually investigations going on for over a decade, but they say that if you go up on that hill, which there's a coal mine up there now, so there's a paved road that goes to it. But if you go there, you can occasionally see her ghost standing on the side of the road or walking there.
Wow.
One of my friends, actually, I wish I had this picture. They went up there with a digital camera back around like 2005 or so.
Yeah.
And they actually got a picture of something white standing on the side of the road, and it had a human shape to it.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah. I wish I still had that picture.
Oh, that's wild. Yeah, I'd love to see that. How about you guys out there in the audience tonight? You got any favorites that you'd like to tell or like to touch upon? You know, there's some other weird things in West Virginia that it's not all Mothman and Flatwoods Monster. You know,
Yeah,
there's
we have
some
the weird magnetic field.
there's the weird magnetic field, thanks to, you know, our old good buddy there, Mr. Dave Roberts. You actually hear Dave in the background, I think, if you listen
If you listen really close, you hear it.
really close, you'll hear Dave in the background. Yeah, Dave makes a lot of the music for the show, and me and him have been, you know, doing that forever. But Dave actually discovered the magnetic anomaly, which is pretty prevalent in West Virginia, and in particularly in the Kanawha Valley.
Yep.
It dips down into the negatives.
Yeah,
and
the whole area is negatively charged.
Yeah, then it does the same thing as it goes up toward the Chestnut Ridge.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really interesting. We did a big presentation on that last year. I think it was last year, and it was just amazing.
Stingray said he used to date a weird chick from
That
West
counts.
Virginia.
That counts. There are some weird chicks in West Virginia. I'll just tell you.
Yeah.
So you know, it's true. It's true, man. Yeah, so we have some interesting things. I was at the Cultural Center not too long ago, and we were up there for what was it Vandalia, the Vandalia thing that they did. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, we went in the Cultural Center, and there's some really cool, if you haven't been in there lately, they updated some stuff. It's really cool stuff. They got some animatronic stuff. They got some really cool projection type stuff.
$1 million on updates.
It's really great. I mean, it's fantastic. And one of my favorite ones is the ancient section. And I really like the part where you can see, you know, 10,000 years ago, how the arrowheads look completely different. I mean, they looked really nice and polished and pretty. And then, you know, a little later, you know, into the woodland period. Yeah, they look more archaic, like they went backwards. Yeah, that's great. I love that. But what's more important is they have a little thing there called, you might have heard of it. It's the Braxton County Runestone. You guys familiar with that one?
I've heard a little bit about it. Read a little about it when we were doing some research, but why don't you tell us?
Well, it's considered a hoax, first of all. I'll just let you know that, because things that can't be explained are hoaxes. That's just automatic. I just want you guys to know that. And here's what it looks like on here's the placard right there beside the Kanawha County Madonna. We'll get into that too. It's also a hoax. Don't fear. Don't worry. It's not going to get you. It's all a hoax. So, you know, but they have it there. It's on display, and it looks like that. Basically, it's a little sandstone. It's a little artifact, and it was found by Blaine Wilson at Triplet Fork, 8 miles west of Gasaway. It was April 10th, 1931 is when he found this thing. The carvings, they look like some kind of forgotten script. No one really knows. The stone's 4 1/8 inch long, 3 1/16 inches wide, and 13/16 of an inches thick. It's basically a sandstone.
tablet.
Yeah, it's a little tablet. It's a nice little square tablet, and it's really well polished. I looked at this thing and really close, and I mean, it can easily have been done with with flint at the time. So yeah, it could be that, but
Now,
it could
did
also.
I see that it does look like there's a little bit of glare on it. Do you think they hit it with a clear coat to preserve it?
I don't
Probably.
know. I don't know. I do not know. There's a glare on it probably because it's behind glass, so you might be getting a reflection off the glass as well. So it's you can't, of course, touch it or get near it enough to do anything
Because it's a hoax,
because it's a hoax. I mean, why? We wouldn't want you to touch the hoax,
right?
But the inscription, it's 3 lines divided. You see it there. But here's the fun thing about this little thing. Many of those characters on there, yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, exactly.
It really does.
And
looks
it
like-
also looks like something else that we'll talk about here in a second. It looks a lot like the Grave Creek tablet. Remember, we got to hold the reproduction of the Grave
did
Creek
the whole
tablet, and that's believed to be a hoax as well. But so the state bought this hoax back in like 8 years or so after Wilson found it, and they sent it off to a Dr. Emerson F. Greenman. He's an archaeologist in Michigan. And Greenman looked at this thing, and after a very detailed analysis, guys, he concluded, and this is a quote, "It has not been demonstrated that the Wilson tablet is a fraud, but the preponderant evidence points in that direction." Why? Just because?
It doesn't fit any kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Because it doesn't fit into the timeline. That's exactly what it is.
And you can't carbon date it. You can't check it. It's stone.
Well, they did carbon date it, but it shows, what was it? I can't remember the exact carbon dating, but it's not that important. The point is, like you said,
Silica, you can't.
it doesn't
really
matter. Yeah, but to them, these guys are experts, man. Just
Yeah.
don't, because
I mean,
they're
you can
experts.
look for traces of remains left from the scratchings, but
So here is the other one. That's the Grave Creek stone, right? And look at the difference. I mean, they look very similar, don't they?
Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, it almost looks like some of those.
characters, man.
Yeah, some of the characters match. So the Grave Creek tablet it's considered West Virginia's most controversial archaeological relic. And there's a lot of people who are divided on if this thing's real or if it's just a hoax, right? But the tablet is an engraved piece of sandstone. Again, it measures 1.5 inches by 2 inches. It was discovered in the spring of 1838 by Aberland Tomlinson and others who were first excavating the Grave Creek Mound. Okay, so they were digging into the mound, allegedly, and they found this thing, right? So they said that they found it near the mound's upper burial vault. But Tomlin's family owned the mound. So this is back then it didn't matter. If you owned it, you could dig into it. Who cared, right? They didn't have any they really didn't care. I mean, I guess it'd be okay if we went over and just
any ethical stuff.
they had no ethical, they had no ethics, period. Because, I'm
Back
sure
then
they
didn't.
well, they'd love it if somebody went over to their local church and just dug up grandma, but it was okay to go over here and destroy these incredible monuments and these people.
Right.
But anyway, they claim to have found that stone under the floor of the upper burial vault. But others who were present said that they themselves had found it. So there within, there's this, there's these stories. It was found in the wheelbarrow from the dirt taken from the vault, and we found it personally. Just back and forth, right? But after Henry Rowe Schoolcraft, he was an eminent ethnographer. Well, he studied that tablet, and he became convinced that these characters were actually carved by Celts from ancient Spain or Britain. Yeah, this gets weird. So rather than early American Indians. So he didn't think these were Native American, writings. He thought that these were Celts, guys, or from Spain or Britain. Like this, this gets out there, is what I'm getting at. So, well, there could be, but not, not then. So, anyway, the Grave Creek tablet became the great center of controversy at that point because different scholars they concluded the characters resembled varieties of ancient alphabets. Like they traced it to so many different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's Tunisian, ancient Greek, Egyptian, Etruscan, Phoenician. I mean, it was all over the place. Libya, African, like these all had kind of similar characters. So this is one of the problems with it, and this is why it was kind of taken as well. It can't be real. But here's what I will tell you guys: the stone disappeared soon after this. Okay, the location is not known where the stone is today. No one knows where the stone is. But the Smithsonian Institution, they have 4 casts of it. So I don't know where they got that cast at because no one knows where the stone's at, and why they'd have a fake. Must be like that crystal skull they got. They love to collect fakes apparently, and not put them on display.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. I mean, what do you think about that?
I've said my piece about this mistake.
Based upon what we know now, we don't need to go there. But based upon what we know
is it too
now,
far of a stretch to say that was a language that we just haven't discovered yet.
Yeah, it could be.
Why can't they acknowledge that? Maybe it's just a very, very old language.
It could be, and it could be a very, very ancient language. But
here's another far stretch for you. maybe they were said to be so tall because they descended from Nordic people who came over way long before we ever thought it was possible.
It's possible, man.
Well,
I mean,
when we were doing research for the whole mound project about 5 years ago, I turned up a lead on this place called Muscle Shell Road, and as I started diving deeper into Muscle Shell Road and the history behind it, I found out that it was not just a road made of mussel shell or mussel shell concretion, which is we're going to find mussels in the river really easily back then. Still today, you can find them in certain beds, but it's when you let the mussel shells dry out, pound them, and add water, they make a natural concrete. And there were 90-degree angle roads, like where intersections and roads were put in out Muscle Shell Road area. And it was all dug up when the state road and everything went through and upheaved, and farmers and everything like that went through and turned it over. But there was a story. I found a story about this character that the natives had referred to as King Yellowhair. And that he had a big locks of yellow hair and a big gold beard. And that's where he resided in. And it was him and his people came here and they built this road system. And it was charted before it was destroyed. So you can actually find the maps and stuff like that of where these roads went and how they were laid out. And it's a very intricate road system that was just destroyed.
Well, it makes me wonder if there's so many options to that. Like, because I do know that mussel shell was used to make mounds, especially toward the coast. That's a mound building, a thing. And the quahog is what they were. They weren't called mussels. They were quahog. Yeah. And it's also a very tradable material. So it has a purpose. It has a meaning, and the amount of mussels. I want you to think about that too, because they didn't just go out and kill mussels, for the heck of it. That was food.
Yeah.
So imagine how many people you had to have living to get that many mussel shells.
Here's another stretch for you. So, according to archaeologists right now, they think that the Vikings, when the Vikings first started, just out of the blue one day, they decided to start making these excellent boats and start pillaging Europe around 700 AD. Just out of the blue, they
Mhm.
started making these super advanced, highly technological boats.
But we know how the boats came. We know who brought the boats. We know. We know what came down. Without that, there would be no boats. There you go, Pat.
So my theory is just that maybe those boats are a lot older than we think, and that's
Of
why
course.
a lot of the
Yeah.
mounds happen to be right along
The
rivers and
river
stuff.
system.
Mm.
We know that the ancient Nords actually did build mounds themselves. There's mounds all over Europe that they built.
There is. Yeah.
There are, and it's a possibility, but like Ron was mentioning earlier, the amount of muscles that it takes to create a road like that. But again, you got to remember the stream systems were pristine.
They were.
Yeah,
They were
not
so
like
clean.
today.
They were
Yeah. They
it
were.
was it was nothing to go if you did it at the right time of year and you knew, which these people would have. They would have known when the spawning season was. And
Oh,
you
yeah.
go in after the spawn.
For
and
sure.
Got a bunch of stuff, and then you eat,
Hmm.
take the shells and turn them into, pound them. You pound the shells into mortar, and then mix that with sand and rock, and you have concrete.
Yeah. You do that, and you've got, there's just so many uses for them. I mean, there was some really, really good uses for them. But again, it points to an uncomfortable history, one that archaeologists they just can't take, man. So it's
Yeah.
easier just to say this is a hoax. And you saw the other hoax that was there. That was the Kanawha Madonna. You guys have heard that one, right? I know you've heard that one.
Yeah.
That was 1897 when there's the four teenage kids, they were exploring the cave, near the New River, and incidentally, I think that's near that one place, right? That site
Yep.
with the walls and
Wall.
the sacred shaft of black Kanawha flint, I believe. Like it's one of the places where almost all the black Kanawha flint probably originated. And that stuff is hard to nap. I'll just tell you right now. But yeah, so anyway, the kids said that they went into this cave and basically they found this statue under a large flat stone. Now, what it doesn't say here in this little article that I found about it is that there were supposedly inscriptions on that stone. But apparently the stone got broken somehow or something. I don't remember how the whole story goes. But a member. Yeah, I don't know. But members of the West Virginia Historical and Antiquarian Society, Dr. John P. Hale, acquired the statue, and Hale visited the cave and presented a paper about the statue. And in 1964, radiocarbon dating put that statue at 350 years. But a more recent carbon dating estimated the wood between 1440 and 1600 CE. So it's inconclusive. No one knows if it was, and literally they said it doesn't mean that it wasn't carved at that time, but it doesn't mean that it was either. So it's one of those things. And they just lump it out and say, this thing's not real. It's just a hoax because we don't have time to deal with this. And I think that that's the number one issue with a lot of these legends. No one has time to deal with them.
Hey, since we're talking about those archaeological finds, I want to talk about my favorite one.
What's your favorite one?
The Garuda bell that was found in a chunk of coal.
Oh, okay. I remember it. Yeah. There's been a lot of stuff found in coal, actually. But
supposedly the story
yeah.
is that a kid brought home a chunk of coal for heating, and he
Yep.
cracked it down the middle to chop it into smaller pieces to fit in their stove to heat up the house. And when he did that, this bell fell out of the coal. And I think they actually kept the coal and they analyzed it, and it was like 50 million years old or something like that. This coal this bell was embedded into the coal. And from what I understand, no one's actually been able to concretely say that that was a hoax.
Yeah,
Well, it's
heard
nearly
it.
impossible to carbon date something that's trapped
Carbon?
in carbon.
That's carbon.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard. But I guess you could do a metallurgical, study on it. But then you have to assume, well, wait now, just because that's modern metallurgy, does that mean that it couldn't have existed in the past? That's our biggest issue when it comes to archaeologists and
Well,
archaeology.
I remember Brandon was talking about an article that he had read a couple weeks ago that basically pushed back swords. What was it? 5,000 years?
3,000.
Yeah,
3,000?
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think Pat's right. If it doesn't fit the narrative, it must be a hoax. I mean, that's true, man. I mean, and that's kind of where we are with a lot of that stuff. So, that's more of the lesser known kind of things that are kind of weird in West Virginia. What I hear about the rumor about, yeah, there's an ocean in West Virginia. Absolutely. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
under, it's, yeah.
Gigantic aquifer.
Yeah, there's definitely an ocean in West Virginia. It's underground, and a lot of our the salt mines are a direct result of those underwater. Those big oceans, which is just amazing if you really think about it, guys. Because what we're talking about is that's literally water that was here millions of years ago that have seeped down into the ground. And that salt that you're getting, those are ancient remnants of an ocean that was here before there was literally anything, except for, I guess, the Appalachian Mountain Range, but which was a mountain, was an island at the time, right? Isn't that what we
Big
think?
archipelago.
Yeah, big archipelago. That's right. So yeah, I mean that's just amazing if you really think about it, and that's also where you get the story of how these people in metaphysics you'll talk about the salt, right? Like how salt has its properties and whatnot, and a lot of the salt is from those ancient oceans. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of cool if you really think about when you're out there at a crafts fair and you see the West Virginia harvested salt. Get some, because that is a link to an ancient ocean that literally was here.
Yeah.
Still is here in a fourth dimensional kind of way, right? We're all underwater right now.
And there's also massive bodies of active moving water in West Virginia.
There is, yeah. Yeah, there's all kinds of rivers.
And then you have the salt, the old ancient ocean that was, where they harvested salt from. J.Q. Dickinson is one of the harvesters in
That's right.
Virginia.
Yep.
It's
good salt, too.
I think the biggest salt works along the canal were like between Rand and Marmette.
Yep, that's where Dickinson Salt Works is.
Mm-hmm.
That's
so
where
they're involved in right smack between.
That's where we get a lot of the street names in Charleston. They came from the barons of the salt works people, like McCorkle.
Yeah.
For example, they were big salt barons.
I think that I think it's just amazing that West Virginia has this very unique history that just goes overlooked so much. I mean, we haven't even got to the good stuff yet. We're just talking about some of the weirder stuff that you don't get to hear too much about.
Oh, you remember that town that Teresa said a few weeks ago that was founded by spiritualists? Anstead. That's an interesting little chunk of history.
Yeah, Anstead is a really interesting town.
There's Bigfoot, Littlefoot down there with an Ohio giant story, and yeah, I think Emily pretty much made the case for the reality of giants, which is just amazing to me that she did that, because
the position she holds.
Yeah. But you can't deny the data, and that's why I like her. She goes where the data leads, and that is what you should do. You should not lead the data. Go where the data leads. But, okay, guys, so we're going to leave it up to the audience to choose. Let's go. We're going to go cryptids. So let's hear your very favorite cryptid in West Virginia. It's got to be a West Virginia cryptid. And let's see who gets it first. The data says giants, so giants it is.
It's the thing. It's only giants technically by their time constraints there at that period, because you got 5'5" and they're like 8 feet tall. you go look at the NBA right now. It's nothing to see a 7-footer, 7'2".
Well, let's be real. I was at
So-
Kroger not too long ago. There was a dude there had to be 7.5. And if you've ever been in the presence of a 7.5 foot tall human being, you're standing in front of a giant, guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know, my
it's
mom met
pretty
Andre one
intimidating.
time.
Oh, Andre the Giant? Really?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I actually found the date that it happened. It was a wrestling show. It was August of '82. They came to Charleston, and she said that when he walked out, she was right beside the entrance. She shook his hand, and his hand was so big it enveloped
Monstrous.
her entire hand. It was nothing.
Yeah, he was big. He was a very big guy.
See, the only
Yeah.
big man that's like that I met's Paul White, which was the Giant.
Still a big dude.
And he's another guy. It's like shaking his hand was like shaking a freaking baseball bat.
That's why I don't go to Kroger.
Oh, they actually have casts of Andre's hands at a museum, and you can put your hands in it and compare your hands to his.
Yeah, that's all of Ripley's Believe It or Not has those casts in all of the museums there. The Ripley's Believe It or Not museums have them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then, so we got Veggie Man, we got Dog
Adam's
Man,
just doing that to make me say it, so I'm not saying it. That's all that was.
Veggie Man. Veggie Man's a really weird one, and I'm still standing by the fact that's a screen
Green
image.
image, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking if that's real, it's a screen image. That's my.
That's what I
my-
think Flannel Man is. That's what I'm convinced that is just a screen image.
It's very possible. It's very possible.
You got Braxy, which is
Braxy?
a monster. Gotta love her.
Gotta love the Braxies. I mean, that's another one. And yeah, we will touch Braxy. I think that's a pretty cool one to touch. I mean, we might have to touch that because, it's kind of something we're doing about that, I think.
Adam says,
Yeah, I know what you're doing.
about Dog Man. Say his.
Yeah, I know, man. I know what you're doing.
We're actually
I know,
planning
I know.
a full Dog Man deep dive soon.
Yeah, we are actually.
So
So,
it's gonna happen. It's gonna be one of the. We might do it live. I don't know. What do you think?
it could happen. It could happen.
It's probably gonna wind up being a recorded show because there's gonna be a lot. We're gonna go from start to finish. We're gonna talk to Martin and Deuster, get some more information from those guys, and then.
Look, man, it's not my subject. So yeah, I'd rather just be like, okay, let's bring on the guys who really know this stuff because
And if we go through the
Yeah.
history of all the mythology about dog humanoids, that would take all night. Like, that stuff is
yeah,
old.
like Scooby Doo. I mean, that dog could talk, man.
Stingray says people don't take me seriously because I bring up Pig Boy. It's a real thing, Georgia in the 1800s. I'll look into that one. I'll dig back in the archives and see what.
Oddly, that sounds familiar, but I
it
don't.
really does sound
I
familiar.
can't.
Right? Like
I can't
Pighead?
place it. Yeah,
Whatever
it sounds
also-
familiar.
Head is sticking out in my brain. I don't know why.
There's also Goatman in Maryland.
Goat Man. Yeah, I remember that. A lot of that was fake, but who knows? I mean,
Pat says it's about functional height. There's much taller people who have been documented. Oh, there really have been, and it's sort of like you said, functional height. Some of them are so big that they're not functional anymore.
Yeah, like the world's tallest man, he had a lot of health issues from being
Yep.
that tall. Like he could barely walk. Andre
Dude.
had a horrible back.
you know it. I mean,
Stingray says that Andre could put an egg through his wedding band.
Yeah, he could.
that's
He
insane.
could, he could fit a milk jug inside of his boots.
That is insane.
That's how big his feet were.
Wow. That is absolutely crazy. So yeah, and I mean, it kind of goes with there's a little bit of genetic holdover from some of those ancient ancestors there that may have had those genes, right? I mean, that's kind of what it looks like. Okay, so what do we have? Do we have Braxy? Is that what I saw come up there?
Yeah, Braxy was Chris mentioned Braxy.
Chris mentioned Braxy. Yeah, Braxy is a very cool story.
It really is, and one of the last May brothers has passed away.
Sadly, that is
Freddie
correct.
passed away. We were hoping to have him come out to the Flatwoods Monster Convention. His brother's still alive, but his brother's the last one, and it's sad seeing some of these people go, but it's thanks to people like Seth Breedlove and Small Town Monsters. who-
Yeah, I mean, if Seth ever did one good thing, just one good thing, because I mean, I'm still mad at Seth because he has not taken me seriously on this Civil War ghost project, and
I know.
I
We
swear,
got to get it.
if he doesn't do it, I'm going to do it. You hear me, Seth? I'm going to do it if you don't do it. That's just going to happen. All right.
Talking, this could be your like Oscar
Could be
nomination,
big. Could be huge.
your Emmy, Seth.
Yeah, it definitely could be his Emmy. I
Your
mean,
setting.
I think I can maybe even come up with an interview with one of the Civil War ghosts. I mean, he could have an exclusive.
Oh,
Dude, you're missing it. You're missing it, man. No, seriously, Seth's great. I'm just messing with him. But
yeah,
you're right.
people
You're
like Seth,
yeah.
what he did with Flatwoods,
Yeah.
Flatwoods Monster
Yeah.
documentary that he did was just
Yeah, how many of you guys have actually watched that? I'm curious. Like in the room right now, have you seen that documentary?
yeah.
Okay. How about the audience? Have you guys seen the documentary we're talking about? Yay or
Actually,
nay?
the release is where we actually met Seth for the first time.
It was. It was.
Yeah.
Don't you think? I mean, you guys have seen it. Don't you think that's like one of the best, if not the best, documentaries on the subject that you could probably find?
Oh,
Oh,
hands
it was
down.
the best.
Yeah, I think it
If
is.
you haven't seen it yet, it is. Seth, I believe, added it to their YouTube.
Yeah.
So go look up the Flatwoods Monster.
Legacy of Fear, right?
Legacy of Fear.
Yeah, Legacy of
Flatwoods
Fear.
Monster, Legacy of Fear, and it's one of my favorites, hands down. Like it's beautifully shot, and the interviews are with witnesses, which he was the first.
Yeah.
He was the first and only
Yep.
to have done that.
Yep. I don't know how he managed to pull that off, and he doesn't either to this day. You know, that it just happened perfectly. But it's great that it did just happen because, you know, now it's gone. So, you know, that's that one little bit where Freddie had said, you know, that he thought that the creature actually, it looked more like to him like a V2. I love that quote.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's because that's what inspired the image that I did.
Which is literally right. Where's my hands?
You know.
There, that guy.
Yeah, he's over there.
There.
He's over there. Hang on, I'll show you which one. Save image as everything. But yeah, I mean, I think that it's
Hey, Ron, Adam solved your dogman problem.
no,
If you get the dogman neutered, he calms right down.
dude, seriously, come on.
You guys who are listening to this purely on audio, you have got to check out the live
You've
show
definitely got to
that
check
comes
out the
on
live show.
Thursdays. This is a special live show. We're recording for West Virginia Day, Wild and Weird West Virginia Day. But
It's
you
our-
definitely can check it out.
yeah,
Jump
yeah.
over, let's hang out sometime.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
So, you know, my thing about this is, you know, you have this, for those who don't know, and I guess there's like maybe one person who don't know, that's in the audience, but there are others who are listening to us now. So we'll go ahead and tell the story, I suppose. But, you know, it was September 12th, 1952. And it was around what, 7 p.m. Is that what time it was? I think is what they said.
The sun was starting to set, going
Yeah.
down below the horizon, and
Yeah, and the kids are out there playing on the they're playing on the football field as the story goes, and they look up and they see this streak of fire coming across the sky. I probably kind of like what we've been seeing here on from the Las Vegas thing. Police cam, that footage of the fireball. But apparently this fireball lands up on a hill. And so they have this idea that they're going to go and collect this meteor. Now, they didn't think it was UFO. They had no idea what this was. They just thought it was a
literally
meteorite.
just found out in science class like a week
Yeah.
before that these meteorites contain precious metals and were very
Yeah.
valuable.
Exactly. So they go home and get their mom, and so she's like, "Well, we'll go up and take a look at it." So her and who was it? Eugene Lemon. He was the National Guardsman at the time, and the other kids is Neil Nunley and Ron Shaver, and the dog. And boy, that dog became a controversy. But
Isn't it that dog has its own legacy?
yeah,
There we go, Seth. Right there, the dog needs its own
the dog needs a story.
documentary now.
That's it. The Flatwoods Monster dog needs its own story. Does anyone even know the dog's name? I'm just curious if that dog has a name. I bet
We're
it
gonna
does.
we're gonna call him Spud.
Well, either way, Spud was. I think he did have a name for real though, and I think
Wait,
I've heard it before, but I don't remember it. But anyway, so they go up on this area where this thing crashed, and it crashed up on the old Fisher farm. You can't go there today, kids. It's
private land.
off limits. Nothing happened here, but it's off limits. You know, Roswell, you can drive out to and pay $25 or something and go see the desert, but you can't go and see the area where this alleged crash happened here in West Virginia.
There's your
And
Seth, right there.
yeah, right there. See? But anyway, so as they're out there, they said when they got up on the hill, you know, it's getting dark, and now there's this mist all over the ground, right? And they said it was like a sulfury smell, as I recall.
Smelled like sulfur, right?
Yeah, it smelled like sulfur. We've heard that before.
Yep.
And so it's making them cough, it's making them nauseous. The dog goes, whatever story you believe, the dog runs away. Some people say the dog got sick. Some people say the dog died. No one knows about the dog part of this story, honestly. Others say it went on to have a happy and normal life.
Yeah,
You
Freddie,
choose.
Freddie, namely, Freddie is the one that says the dog.
Honestly, I think the dog's name is Schroeder's, and because it's either, you know,
Schrodinger's.
yeah, Schrodinger's. You know. So anyway, dog aside, they're up on the hill, and off in the distance they can see this reddish glow, right? So I believe it was it Eugene that shines the light?
Yeah.
I think it was Eugene. He takes a flashlight, shines it in the direction of where this light's coming from, and then all of a sudden he's met with two yellow orbs that are moving toward him. You know, and those orbs start kind of beaming like it's a beam shooting at them, and then they see this orangish glowing face and this crazy form, you know, this body, and they all freak out. You know, it's like it's anywhere from 10 to 15 feet tall, depending on who you talk to. Huge thing moving toward them. And again, for those who have not watched Seth's film, he spared no expense.
Built this thing, 14 feet tall, I believe.
Yeah, they built this thing, and it's a wonder to me. It's just amazing that no one was killed in the process.
They
But
almost were. Almost.
but yeah. So anyway, this thing's out there, and it starts moving toward him, and it's floating off the ground, you know, and it's kind of belching out this, you know, this sulfury smoke, and so everybody just runs and they go back home, and they eventually report this, which is again absolutely opposite of anything you do when you're trying to hoax something. That's why I have to question some of these things, like the Vegas thing. Like, how many people think it's a great idea to hoax something, but immediately go to the cops and say, you know, they're scared to death? First of all, you can tell there's fear on people. You know, look at the Pascagoula event. There's a great example.
Or like when you're doing a live UFO event and you shoot up flares and try to say it's UFOs.
Well, I don't know. I mean, whatever works for you. Yeah, I
But you
guess.
gotta charge everybody 10 grand a pop before.
Hey, you know what? If it really funds, you know, our research, I'm about ready to go out there and pop off some flares. You guys want to come out and shoot some lasers at the sky? Let me know. I promise it won't be as much as what you hear a certain so-and-so person charging for that. But I'll guarantee you're going to see something. You'll see something. And by God, I'll tell you another thing. Night vision is required.
It's all right, Jen. We're doing the regular show on Thursday too. This is just a spurt of the moment live show. No
It's a
sweat.
special. It's special. It's West Virginia, Wild and Weird West Virginia Day. Grafton Monster, okay, because he's in the art. You know, I had to put him in there. You know that, right? I mean, it's not one of my favorite of legends. But if you look up here in the corner, right up there in the top panhandle, you're gonna see it over there. You see him over there?
You know, that's one of the
He's up there hiding.
stories
He's
that
over
I
there
don't know what
hiding.
to make of that.
Oh, I know what to make of it. Either A, is actual, and it was a misinterpreted sighting of something, or B, it was just, you know, story. It was a story. I mean, I don't know which one. Either way, it's a
Debunkers
legend.
try to say it was a bear with mange.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No, I don't think
That's
so.
not nearly as
Mm.
big as that creature was said to be.
Well, I'll tell you
Maybe
another.
gray.
I'll give you the third alternative, and it's a weird one, but it's my favorite explanation for what was actually reported, and that is that you're dealing with a golem. Because what's the literal definition of this thing? I mean, it sounds exactly. If I was going to draw a golem, it's going to be the Grafton monster. That's what it's going to look like.
And remember when I sculpted that one?
It looked exactly like. Yeah, and it got up and walked away.
And it disappeared for days.
Yeah, weird stuff, man. Yeah,
Maybe it literally
That's-
walked away.
it may have. I don't know. There's all kinds of weird stuff that happens when you're messing with.
Oh, there was a great golem story on oh god, what Stephen King movie? It was one of the Creep shows. I think Creep Show 2 maybe that had the golem story.
But yeah, I mean, you're looking at something that was what? It would look like a seal, like a wet seal, right? That's how the skin was kind of described. Yeah,
Like wet clay, yeah.
yeah. So there you go. I mean, that's to me, that's what it sounds like we're dealing with. We're dealing with something that's, if it was a physical thing. But what's really weird about that story, guys, is when they went back up to look for this thing, and they had the parties that went up there and around the river, and they looked for it, and they heard that weird sound, that weird humming sound, around the river. Oh gosh, the hodag.
I mean, probably ultimately, I think so. Like it was
Yeah,
either
Could
a
be.
misidentified sighting or it was just somebody trying to.
but
mix
it could also be a misidentified sighting.
Yeah.
How easy he was moving like 50 some miles per hour on that
Around the
curve,
curve.
right? And it was nighttime,
Through,
and
through a curve, which
You
means
know.
his lights went.
exactly, yeah. And
Yeah,
you got to remember,
on.
guys. When this happened, those lights weren't very bright.
I remember one debunker that I saw on a website somewhere try to say that it was an old refrigerator floating down the river that his headlights happened to bounce off of, and I was like, "You're really stretching for that."
That's a serious stretch. Yeah, that's a very serious stretch. I wouldn't even go that far to try to explain away the leveling frog with that one. That's just ridiculous. Got to say, as far as Ohio goes, leveling frog's my favorite there. So
Yeah.
that's original. What we got?
The Webster werewolf, the blue devil, the white thing. But we actually have a white thing report that came in about a month or so ago from Fayetteville area.
Yeah.
The sheep squatch.
Oh dear Lord, James, why did you have to do this?
So, all right.
Well,
This first time we've done it on a live. We've talked about it on the show before, but the sheep squatch. This is just. I'm from Boone County, so is a sheep squatch story. Coincidentally, my family owns
The
all,
original. The original.
yeah, the original sheep.
You got to
squatch.
say that
The original sheep squatch
because
sighting.
there's several different ones.
My family owns the whole area around where the sheep squatch sighting took place, and then there's a small holler right on the other side, followed by just a bunch of little houses. It's just a small little community there, and ultimately, there was a sheep, a male sheep, so a ram, that had gotten loose, and he was notorious for getting loose. He was, if we'd get up there on our property line, we were walking the ridge area hunting, it would get, squirrely and come after you. But it had dreadlocks essentially because it'd been loose so many times. Eventually, the state winds up coming around.
Boom! Look here, look here, look here. I knew you'd help. I knew someone out there. This is why I love our community. Right here.
Dog's name was Richie.
I don't like that name. We're changing it.
I like Spud better.
Yep, Spud.
So, back to the sheep squatch. It was eventually put down by the state because these guys also they had that experience. They saw it. They were likely drunk, and when you see a big ram that's coming down, it's unshorn, been loose, extremely territorial, running downhill at you, you're going to think you're being chased by a monster. The noise they make is god awful, and when they open their mouth and yell, and they got gnarly horns because like a domestic sheep horns, you have to cut those off too because they don't grow in like a ram's horn. They don't come in a nice curl. They come in, they're gnarly. They'll even grow back into their head. So you have to keep those cut. So you've got this monstrous looking thing just coming down at you. It was a monster too, and you take off running.
The dog's name should have been Pickles for the record. Stingray 1975.
There we go. We'll take Pickles. And but yeah, that right there is your sheep squatch.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I never saw a sheep squatch. That's the one thing I haven't seen, and I'm good not seeing it. I'll be honest. I've seen it a few times in Fallout 76, but other than that. And I think let's give credit where credit's due. Fallout 76. I don't think the sheep squatch would have made it out of West Virginia if it wasn't for
No,
Fallout
it was
76.
before Fallout 76. The mountain monsters.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about Mountain Monsters.
That was back in 2013.
Oh, I forgot about them.
Episode.
Yeah. You're right. That's one of the few that I actually watched. I remember that episode very well.
You were
So,
muted, Brandon.
so to be clear,
I said Huckleberry would charge you $25 to talk about it.
So to be clear, James, what he's trying to say is that apparently the sheep squatch is a product of inebriated storytelling, possibly.
Yep,
Also known
hunters
as drunk
going out
rednecks.
and doing their thing and getting ran off by this angry old ram.
Yeah. But there was a few other ones there that I've seen people. Man, you guys are doing great. You're just listing them. Keep listing them. Come on. What I saw something. It was it a dog? There was a dog bear or something. I'd seen that up here.
Yeah, somebody had mentioned dog bear.
Bear dog.
Bear dog.
Yeah. That was there was a case of that in the 1980s, I believe. Reported. Thing had red glowing eyes.
Yep,
And,
was not natural.
Walked on all fours and chased some people. I don't know.
That
what it
reminds me
was.
of a story that my mom's family would tell all the kids to scare us, and we were little kids. They said that if you weren't good, Bloody Bones would come out of the woods and get you while you were asleep, and he had glowing red eyes. And he was
I just
basically a
wonder.
skeleton covered in blood.
Oh, that's cheery. That's cheery. That's
Imagine
awesome.
thinking about that as like a little kid.
I'm gonna have to draw that now. Thanks. That's really cheery. We may do that in one of these. I may just sit here and just work on a drawing through one of these, and that'll be fun. Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum,
Ghost.
the nurse ghost. Jeez, there's all kinds of ghosts up there. That place was nuts. I wish Dave was here. He could tell you about that. I think he investigated that a few times.
Deuster says raw head and bloody bones.
There you go. Wait now. We got a Richie and a Ricky. Which was the dog's name? Sherry says Ricky.
Is that short for both?
I'm going to say it. Yeah, I'm still calling it Spuds. I don't care, guys.
Spuds is a good name.
Spuds is way better. We're going to call it Spuds.
So, we've got so much weird history here. In
What
this
is
area.
that?
Yeah.
This is a great story. 1973. What? My brother told me when I was a kid that there was a black snake that would sneak in your bed and bite you on the big toe. My brother's a jerk.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's a jerk thing to do, Stingray.
And
That's a jerk thing to do right there. Have you ever been
sounds like
bitten?
something I would do to my kids.
Have you ever been bitten by a snake? It's fun.
Depending on which species it is, it's not too bad. I've been hit by it a lot.
Yeah, a few of them. Yeah. Non-venomous. They still hurt.
No, I've been tagged by a copperhead. It was not fun.
Well, you're special.
Yeah, it got me while I was weeding. It was back in my National Guard days after I'd palace chase out.
Bird, Mr. Ike. Yeah, Thunderbirds are prevalent. Our legend, the water panther. Yes,
Yeah.
more prevalent here was indeed the water panther, and that's a very interesting story because I think we actually covered that, didn't we? In Shawnee
We did.
Myths and
Yeah,
Legends,
we
the
actually did a water
episode.
panther episode.
Yeah, the episode Shawnee's Myths and Legends, which is really good, by the way. And we already knew Joe was special. Yeah, we did. But that was a really good, deep episode on that. But basically, what you just said are two different things. You've got the water panther and you've got the thunderbird. So you had, one that was
opposing forces almost.
opposing forces. Yeah, exactly. Either way, go listen to our episode because it's a lot more in depth than me trying to remember all that. And I don't want to get it wrong because it's got to be told just the right way. You don't want to, you do not want to tell it wrong. I have Shawnee family friends who would scold me on that, so I have to make sure I do it right.
It was episode 73, by the way, in case you guys are looking for that.
There you go, episode 73. Wow, man, that's been a while back, huh?
A long time ago.
Cannot believe we've been doing this long. This is amazing. Right. What else we got there, guys? Okay, so anyway, we all know the world famous Ogwa. Darn it, Ogwa. Let's go there because he's in here too. If you look, yeah. I've got him hiding here on the banks. Where did the image go? The image disappeared. That's magical. Yeah, here you go. See, he's right there. And the last oar to the right, you see that little, that's the Ogwa. He's right there. Right below Braxy. He's going to get you.
I love the big turtle stories because to me, they're actually possible.
Well, big turtle stories are 100% accurate. We believe that the fossil record has pretty much shown that that's possible. We're dealing with an animal that can live, hundreds and hundreds of years. Before the Europeans got here, there were no real predators, that was going to take these things down. Like no, absolutely not. So it was definitely possible. And I still think that the large snakes were possible because I remember hearing a lot of the story about the giant snakes. Yeah. And you'll hear those every now and again. You hear people, hey, back in the 50s or in the 30s or whatever, that there were giant snakes that were found in some of these places. I have no doubt because these things, they live for a very long time. What is an Ogwa?
Oh,
what?
The Ogwa is a big old turtle. Some parts of the story has it having two heads, which again we know is possible with turtles. Once they've been inbred enough, you're going to get conjoined twins or two-headed turtles, things like that. It's totally possible, and with a small breeding pool, it's even highly more possible. But it was a turtle that was big enough to eat a sheep or a dog, take a small kid, and it was one of those
monster.
Kind of things that was
monster turtle.
Possible.
Yeah, total monster. And a few years ago, it got a resurgence because allegedly some guys had seen something that they considered to be the Ogwa. And so it kind of made the rounds again. Adam is making me make a comment and not lurk in the background. I'm commenting under duress, though I love this podcast. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Zakia. Wonderful to have you here. And Adam will do that. I mean, it's peer pressure. Tries to get me to say things a lot too. So I understand. I totally understand. Sometimes it's just best to say no, but we're glad you said yes this time. And Dewey said he saw a flying turtle in 1956.
I saw a flying turtle too one time when I was driving in my van with Rite Aid. A hawk had dropped a snapping turtle, which is a common behavior. Hawks will come in, they'll scoop up turtles, they'll fly up to high altitudes and release them so their shell will smash against the rocks. And I was just driving, and all of a sudden, here comes, wham, smacks the road just in front of the van. And I'm lucky I didn't hit it and didn't stick in my windshield. But yeah, that was a hoot.
One time when I lived in Mingo County, I had a deer fall off a cliff and almost land on my truck.
Holy cow!
Yeah, I don't know what kind of spirit you got to really tick off to make that happen. But Adam is the sponsor. Yes, Adam is the sponsor. That is correct.
That's right.
And Adam has been. Yeah, Adam's the sponsor. Dewey's still sponsor too, because Dewey contributed, I think it was like $10 or something, a couple of weeks back, and we're still grateful for that. So everybody who has supported us, God bless you all, because we got a lot to do. We've got the Wood Booger Jamboree coming up, and we've got the workshop.
The workshop is coming
is
up.
filling up.
It really
Everybody,
is. It's filling up fast.
yes, yes, it is filling up fast, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I saw on one of our things somebody had they had made some strange comment about it, and I'm like, huh, that's funny, but I thought it was hilarious because I don't think they understand. Um, we did the first one, and we're going to do this one, and we'll do another one after
We did
this.
the ones in the past, like
Yeah, this is what we do. I mean, for you guys who don't know, I mean, most of you guys who are here right now know this, but
2021 we did our first one, and then every Wild and Weird Con since we've had workshops.
yeah,
on them.
yeah,
And last
that's
year,
right.
the only reason we didn't do it last year is because, well, my son turns a year old here in a couple weeks, and it's right around the same time that we always did the summer workshop. So have a baby.
But either way,
Go
last
to the
year
workshop.
we still had a workshop last year. We did it at Wild and Weird
Yeah, it's
Con,
been
and
a while.
we had Hellbent Holler come in and do it. So we've done workshops. This
Yep.
is not new, and people like them. So we're going to keep doing them. And you learn a lot, don't you? I mean, it's a lot of fun. That's the whole point.
It's extremely valuable information.
It really is. You actually get to learn some stuff, but what's really fun about it is you get to meet like-minded people, to talk to people. You get to actually experience what it's like out there because it's different reading about it and actually going out there and pouring a cast or, learning how something walked through the woods and looking for this and that, little things. And there's so many little things that you don't think about. And, we go over all that stuff. Plus you get to eat a really good meal, which is number
Then
one.
you get to go out and do a investigation with us if you want.
Yeah, if you want to,
Investigation.
hang out. And what's going to be great about this one, we've got a lot more equipment to deploy this time.
Yep.
And we're going to deploy it all, and we're going to show you how we do that. Because you got to remember, guys, when we go out there, we go full hilt. I mean, we take everything. We're kind of crazy, but it works because there's been a number of times now, right, that we've gone out there, like you said, looking for subject A, come back with subject B, and we have the gear to make sure that we can record those data sets if that happens. And so we like to kind of teach others to do that too. It's a blast. Thank you. Yes, you were there. That's right.
Yeah,
It was a lot of fun.
Was that the first one?
Yes. What other cryptid you guys want us to touch on here? We're rolling here.
Coming up to our time stamp though.
Yeah,
for the,
airplane. Yeah.
the show at the
This-
down some.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to probably edit a little bit down, but won't be too bad. Remember, this is a live taping, so we can't go our normal, 2 and 3 hours on this one, guys. We'll be back for Thursday for that. You can hang around for that
Hang
one.
out Thursday for the 2-hour version. And
2 hours and
Thursday goes
beyond,
on
depending on what's
however
going
long
on.
we feel like.
oh yeah, Brandon, go ahead and plug your stuff.
Oh yeah, so I've been putting together an anthology of all of my short stories, and it's not just horror. There's sci-fi in there. There's some drama in there too. Just everything I've written since like 2014, I think. It's 41 stories altogether, and right now it's about 84,000 words, so around 300 pages, give or take. And you can pre-order it right now for $5.99, and it'll release to your ebook or e-reader of choice on July 25th.
Sweet.
And it's
Sweet.
called The Ouija Board Said It Was Hungry.
That just sounds disturbing. So we were going on the train there. We got the workshops. We got Wood Booger Jamboree coming up in August. We got the workshops coming up next month. We've got Flatwoods Monster Con.
Let's not
is
forget Flatwoods Monster Convention.
Right
It is
around-
shaping up.
Got a tremendous guest speakers list coming for that, and a ton of amazing vendors.
It's definitely shaping up. We've got this guy announced today, our old buddy there.
Wow.
Yep. We got
Stan.
old Stan announced today, and then Raymond Zemansky so far will be there. And boy, what a great time! I was just talking to Ray the other night. I was like, man, we couldn't have picked having you at a better time than right now when all this is going down. But it's going to be really good. And Ray will be with us July 2nd for our Roswell Day celebration episode, which we every year we do a Roswell Day celebration episode.
And it's fitting because Grush can't talk about
No,
Roswell.
no, Grush can't talk about Roswell, but I'll bet you
Ray
Ray
will.
can. I bet Ray will. I'm pretty sure Ray's going to talk about Roswell.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain that that's going to happen, but and beyond. so yeah, that's going to be a really good show. Where are we at next? Oh yeah, I'm at Kecksburg next, right? Yeah. Actually, you know what? I did a thing. I made us a list of all the things we've done so far this year and where we'll be going. And there's a couple on here that's still to be announced, but that gives you a good idea where we're going and whatnot. So be sure to catch us at some of these, and we'll be out there. Oh wait, before we go, I got to do something. I got to show you guys something. So I'll be right back. Stay right here.
Oh.
So Joe, I've been collecting model kits for a very long time. I build them. Case in point, built the ship for. We just finished the ship for. What was it? The Man from Venus. The Eli's little movie there. Which, if you guys haven't seen it, I suggest you really go watch it. It is really good, and it is such a great backstory on George Adamski and all that. And my whole thing is, okay, we did George Adamski. Let's do Ended Cold. Come on. Anyway, because we already have that model built. It wouldn't be that hard. So anyway, I found something that I had to get. And I said, when I saw it, I knew Joe would just love this. And I can't wait to build it. It's going to be fantastic. Can you see it?
The TR3B. TR3.
No, it's TR3E.
The TR3.
Wait, is that a new model?
Yes, that's right. It's the TR3E.
The TR3E.
Yes.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah. So you got to look. It's over Machu Picchu, I believe. There.
That's great.
That's Machu
Oh
Picchu.
yeah. Huh.
Yeah. I thought that was
That's
clever.
that's a
that they did
weird
that.
placement.
Yeah, it just came in today. I was like, oh, Joe's gonna love this.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, I'm gonna do that, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. And I got a few of these little guys ready to go. Someone was questioning me why I made these artifacts on one of the pages. It was really hilarious. First of all, they're not reproductions of artifacts at all.
Yeah, it's an amalgamation.
Yeah,
Four
exactly.
packets of skulls and me, you and Wayne sitting down and looking at them.
It's not what you think. Yeah, exactly.
The final rendition Ron actually did in real time with me and Wayne on Skype.
Back in the day.
Adjustments to make, and
Yep.
then he worked out the final rendition, and then added more to that after showing it to can't think of his name. Sierra Sounds. Ron Moorhead.
Ron Moorhead.
When
Yeah,
Ron Moorhead
yeah. Ron
like,
is the one who. Yeah. He gave me the. He's like, where's the two little holes in the back of the skull? And I'm like, oh man. And the funny thing is, I knew before he turned it over what he was looking for, and they weren't there, but they're there now, because this is the fourth model. And what people don't get, this isn't something you can just go and get off Thingiverse, or this is a handmade model. It took what, 2.5 years basically to get to this.
It's 3 years from
Yeah, something
start
like that.
to finish.
Yeah, just preparatory work.
So many versions.
Because when I started the project, I really did not believe that these were anything other than just elongated skulls, that they were just, cranial deformation, artificial. And then when you started really getting down into it and looking at the anatomical difference, the foramen magnum, which is modeled right here, you can see where that is compared to a human skull. No, it don't work that way.
Yeah,
and there was
no
just
growth plates either.
there was just so many little
Sagittal
things.
sutures are gone. They don't.
I can give you a sagittal obliteration if you want to argue with me on that,
Right.
but you won't argue with me on this right here. You won't argue
And
with
you're
me
not going
on.
to get sagittal obliteration across the entire skull.
No, you can still
You're
tell
only
it's
gonna get
there.
Places.
Yeah, you can still tell it's there. But
It'll
you
be
know, this-
faded the older you get, but you can still see it.
yeah. But either way, I thought that was just a really cool little model. But I shared it on a page, and someone wanted to critique it. I'm like, here's the thing. It's not what you think. It's definitely not a. It's not a reproduction. It is a reimagined version. And why it is here is because the real ones cost you a lot of money.
Yep.
to get a
600 bucks.
cast. Yeah.
Cast.
$500 to $600 for a cast, and you can go home with one of these for $50, or you can get one of even the bigger ones for like 150. So yeah, it's that's the reason, because people want them. There you go.
Yep.
And I can answer those questions because we have this platform.
Hey, we got Dave Spinks in the chat.
What?
Hey, what?
Yeah,
Where?
He's the Facebook user.
Oh, he's over on Facebook.
Are you serious?
What's going on, Dave? Happy
David?
Wild and Weird West Virginia Day.
Happy Wild and Weird West Virginia Day, David. I'll be darned. Look at that. You never know who's listening. You never know who's watching, do you? But, and it was really funny because Dave actually bought one of the skulls.
Yeah, you took it
really?
this weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, he got one of the skulls. He got the table model. It was one of the ones that was that I just did, and I'm going to make us another one. And he's like, I got to have it. And I'm like, of course you do. So, every time I make one of those things, somebody's got to have them, but it's okay. That's what they're there for.
They're there for
Exactly, yeah.
It just takes days to make, but they're worth it. And yes, Jennifer, you have one. And I believe that's the other one that goes with that collection. What? You need a crystal version? I'm working on it, bub. I'm working on it.
Has anybody like tried to make a clay model over the skull to see what their faces would
Yes.
look like?
Yeah,
Yes, they did, and it's very cool.
Yep.
They don't look like you or me. Let's put it that way. They are very, very different.
I gotta find that.
Crystal version of that skull, it's going to take some time on a lot of it's going to be a lot of money to make it, because he's got to get it completely smoothed out, get it to me, then
Well, it's got to be smoothed out, and it can't have any holes.
can't have any holes.
So we've got to seal it up completely and it's literally got to look like it's carved out of
Holy
crystal.
Lord, that looks weird.
Yep.
We found it.
You got to cast it.
Yeah, and then we got to cast it, and it's a lot of money. But if you guys want one, for real, I mean, we'll do it. You just got to, back us on that one.
Kickstarter for it, because it's
Yeah.
Produce it. I
Yep.
priced it out to produce. It's going to put us around $250 just
Easy.
in materials to make the mold.
Easy. Yeah, easy. I mean, that's how much some of these things will
that's
go
how much
for.
we're in day one, like just without even selling one. We're taking the gamble, and then just to make one, the time and everything.
Oh, it's a lot of work. Yeah, it's a tremendous amount of work. And but if somebody wants to, do it, yeah, we'll do a group buy or something, a minimum in on it. And once we hit the magic number, we would go into production on it. But they would be acrylic, understand?
Yeah.
They would look like crystal, but they would be acrylic. So no, I'm not making one out of quartz.
Oh God, that would take forever.
Let's play a game. How much do you hate yourself?
How much are you willing to pay?
Okay, so the price just went up from a couple of $100 to a couple of $1,000, just to let you know.
You've got to do it the same way the ancients did, Ron. I'm going to give you a piece of sandpaper.
Sandpaper? Okay.
Start.
Okay.
Get at it.
Okay, so we got to basically take some ruby, grind up some rubies,
Yep.
mix it with water and paste, and get us some yucca leaves probably.
Yep.
And
I have those. I've got
okay.
yucca out front.
Well, we're already ahead on the yucca, guys. We don't need that. So we just need about 200 years. So we need the time machine. Yeah, so I can do that, right? That's how we're going to do it. Yeah. So there you go. I'll get right on that for you, bub. I'll have that done for you probably by maybe the end of next life.
All right, guys. This has been a fun show. Thanks for joining us for the extra special Wild and Weird West Virginia Day live extravaganza. Hope you've all had fun. Remember, if you're listening to us in your car right now, jump on over to the YouTube. Engage with us on Thursdays during the live show. You get to see all kinds of videos and images that we throw up during the feed. And if you go over and just watch the regular show on YouTube itself, you get to see those very same pictures and all of that stuff show up, like the one that's on the screen right now that you can't see because you're driving down the road. Eventually, we're going to have some kind of augmented reality where we'll be able to splash it up on your windshield. But right now, we're just not there. So,
those lucky Tesla drivers, they got it made.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to continue to keep Wild and Weird Radio free for eons and eons to come, head over to wildandweirdwv.com. Click on the shop tab, go ahead and peruse our wares, and pick something to have sent straight to your house.
Yeah, like a brand new shirt. That's the one we just did today. Like it's
Right.
there.
Brand new Wild
That's
and Weird
that's right.
West Virginia Day
Yep.
with cryptid roads, all
Yep.
of that good stuff. Everything's on it. You're going to love it. It's colorful.
I even made a little special parody verse there for you for your, West Virginia's theme song. I made it more, appropriate for us.
It's got all things good.
It's got all things good.
So get over there and pick up one of the shirts. Hey, and by the way, we have done this for years. If you come to one of the events that we're set up at, speaking at, whatever, and you are wearing our merchandise, whether it is a wristband that says "Stay Wild and Weird" or a T-shirt, you're gonna either get something like just given to you or discounts or something. We will show our appreciation for you showing up and rocking our merch, because you don't have to do that. That's something you choose to do, and
We appreciate it. Yeah, big time. Absolutely.
Workshop dates are filling up quick, guys. Remember that. If you want to get in on the workshop for July 15th, you want to get in there and reserve your spot very, very soon. It's almost full. Then, if you're wanting to come out, remember Flatwoods is coming up in September. It's going to be a blast. We got Wood Booger coming up in
August
12th at Johnstown Park.
Yeah.
Going to be a blast as well. You guys don't want to miss either of those events. It's back to back to back, wild and weird here with us, July, August, September. So
It's
come
pretty
hang out
crazy.
with us, catch us on the road, and remember.
It's pretty crazy. Hey, wait, no. Do the code thing.
Oh, the code thing. Yeah, I keep the code thing's brand new. I forgot about that.
Brandon, do
Yeah,
the code thing.
Right now, if you use the promo code Wild and Weird 23, you can save 10% off your first month subscription to Paranormality Magazine.
Oh, good Lord. Really? No, that's not how you do that. Here, I'll do it. Use promo code Wild and Weird 23 to get 10% off your first month subscription. Paranormality Magazine. Promo code Wild and Weird 23. That's Wild in Weird 23. That's how you do it.
There you go.
All right. I think we got everything covered on this episode.
Well, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. It's been great. We will catch you next week. And
We'll actually catch you Thursday.
Well, yeah, catch us Thursday before
Thursday.
next week. How about that? Catch
Yeah.
us Thursday. Hang
Yeah,
out
this
with us.
was a bonus. So yeah.
Bonus. Yeah, that's right. It's going to be 2 days from now. You guys get to hang out with us. So be back in 2 days. And remember, Wild and Weird West Virginia is not just a place, it's a state of mind. Stay wild and weird, everybody.